Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Now look at this is absolutely beautiful. This is a puff stitch and I'm going to show you how to make a blanket. When you do your chain, just do any number that you want as long as it's an even number, and I'm going to show you how to do this. Now this is how thick it is. It's quite a nice sort of chunky stitch, so I'm going to show you how to do this. This blanket, I'm just going to do a chain. I'm going to do a chain in an even number of stitches. So I'm just going to do a little sample. So just put your yarn over and pull through your stitch. Do your slip knot whatever way that you would normally do it. So we're just going to do a chain. So I'm going to do a puff stitch. So we're going into 1, 2, 3, the fourth stitch in the chain. You pull your yarn through and leave it on the hook. Just leave it on the hook. Yarn through. We're going to do this 4 times. So through the same stitch, that's twice. Give it a little wriggle. Yarn over through the same stitch. That's 3. Keep it on the hook. Yarn over into the same stitch. That's 4. Now what you're going to do is yarn over, pinch those stitches and pull your hook through all of those stitches and chain 1 to lock your puff together. Because we went into the 4th chain, we've got a chain of 3 here. That's going to be the edge of the blanket. What you're going to do now is skip 1 stitch and do a puff stitch into the next stitch. So yarn over and into that next stitch. So we skip 1 stitch and go into the next one. Pull your yarn through, give it a little wriggle, keep it on your hook, yarn over through the same stitch, that's twice, yarn over into the same stitch, that's 3 times, yarn over and into the same stitch, and that's 4. Put your yarn over again, pinch, hold it here, and just pull your hook through all of those stitches and chain 1, and that locks your puff in. So you've got 2. We're going to do that all the way along your chain. Skip 1 puff stitch, skip 1, do a puff stitch, skip the next one, do a puff stitch, skip the next one, do a puff stitch. So we're going to skip this stitch here and have a little look, because where your puff stitch is, sometimes it makes that stitch next to it very small. So skip that stitch and we're going to do a puff into the next stitch. So pull your yarn through, wriggle your hook and keep it on. That's 1. Into the same stitch again, that's 2. The same stitch again, that's 3. Yarn over, remember, into the same stitch. It might twist, so just give it a push back. That's 4. Yarn over and pull through all of those loops and chain 1, and that gives you another puff. Now I'm going to do that all the way to the end. Skip a stitch and do a puff stitch 4 times into the same stitch. Just give it a wriggle, yarn over into the next, that's 2, yarn over into the same stitch, that's 3, yarn over into the same stitch, and that's 4, and a pull through and chain 1. Make sure when you do that little chain 1 there, when you do that chain, that it's slack. Don't do it too tight. So yarn over, skip a stitch and do a puff stitch into the next one. So that's 1, yarn over into the same stitch again, that's 2, yarn over into the same stitch, that's 3, yarn over into the same stitch, and that's 4. Put your yarn over and pull through all your loops and chain 1. So I've done the last puff stitch. I'm going to skip this stitch, and into this last one I'm going to do a treble crochet. So just go through your stitch and do a treble crochet on the end. We'll always start and finish with a treble crochet stitch. If you're in the USA, this is a double crochet. Going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn your work. Now you're going to skip that space there and you're going to work into the next space. If you put your puff stitch right in there, your blanket's going to get wider and wider. So you're going to skip this puff and make a puff stitch into that space there. So yarn over and pull your yarn through. Leave it on the hook, that's 1. Yarn over, pull through, that's 2. Yarn over, pull through, that's 3. Yarn over and pull through, that's 4. Pull through all of those stitches and the chain, and then chain 1. Move to the next one. Now the chain 1 locks your puff stitch together. We're not going to chain another one. If you do, you'll end up with big gaps like this in between your blanket, and you want to keep your blanket stitch nice like this. You want to keep it quite compact. So yarn over your hook into the next space, right through the space, pull up, that's 1, yarn over, pull up, that's 2, yarn over, through we go, pull up, that's 3, and 1 more is 4. Now I'm just nipping this, I'm just holding it here. And don't worry if some of your little puffs are just a little smaller than the others. Once it's moved around in that, it will settle down. Into the next space, yarn over and pull through, that's 1, 2, 3, and I've got my yarn underneath my hand here, 4. So you just crochet the way it's comfortable through all of those stitches and do my 1 chain to lock it in and move along. And that's what you're going to do row after row after row. I told you this was so easy. 1, 2, 3, 1 more I've got. If you don't think you've got the right number, what to do is just take it back off your hook, wriggle your hook back out. If you don't think you've done enough or done too many, just pull it out like that and start again. Yarn over and pull through, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, and 4. And I'm just nipping my work to hold it steady. And through all of those stitches and chain 1 to lock your puff stitch and move along. I'm going to find, that's my chain of 3. I'm going to do a treble crochet into the top of that chain of 3. So remember, you'll do a chain at the end, you'll do a treble crochet at the end, sorry, and a treble crochet or a chain at this side. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. This acts as your treble crochet. Turn your work. Now we're going into this space here. On the bottom you don't. Every second row you go into this space and it keeps it all symmetrical. If you keep jumping over here, your blanket will go in like that. So with this one, this is your first space above that puff stitch. So we're going into this big space this time. So yarn over and pull through. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. It staggers your puff stitches, so we're going above this one. So there's your space. 1, 2, 3, and 4 through all your stitches and chain 1 to lock it in. Move to the next space. 1, 2, 3, and 4 through all them and chain 1 to lock it in. I'm going to do that all the way to the end. So you've got one row, your first row will go up and down. You'll have a row that will go that way, a row that will sort of tilt that way, your next row will tilt that way, and the next one will tilt that way. So I'm going into every space till I get to the end, and I'll do my treble crochet at the end, chain 3, and I'll turn, and I'll come back and show you what to do next. So I'm at the last one. I've got a space and I've got a puff underneath it, so I'm going to put a puff stitch into this last space, 2, 3 and 4, pull through all my stitches and chain 1. Now into the top of that chain of 3 I'm going to put my treble crochet. That gives you a nice edge. What you can do is, once you've done a blanket big enough, you can come along the edge and you can put puff stitches into the spaces if you want along the edge of your blanket. And this is what we've got so far. So you're going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3 and turn. Now right here we've got a puff already, so we don't need to put a puff, it's too small a space. So if you can see what's happening, it's staggering across a bit like brickwork. We're going to come across and go into this space above this puff stitch. So you're going to be working into the space above the puff stitch in the row below. So there's one here already, so we can't put a puff stitch there. We're going into that space. So yarn over and do your 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Pull through all of those and chain 1 and move to the next space. And that is all you do. It is so easy. That's 4 and pull through, chain 1, next one, 1, 2, 3 and 4, pull through, chain 1 to lock it together, and the next one. And that is how you carry on with this super easy 1 row repeat puff stitch blanket. Make it as big as you like. You can do this and make it as big as you like. So that one's the blue. I'll finish this row and chain 1. Now into the top of the chain, I've got a puff there, so I don't need to make another one. Yarn over and into the top, that chain of 3. Oops. Just going to do our treble crochet. If you're in the USA, that's a double crochet. And that is what you get. It's absolutely beautiful. It's really, really pretty. And this is it in the lemon. So the thicker yarn you use, it comes up absolutely beautiful. And it's beautiful in any colour, any thickness of yarn as well. You can use thinner yarn, and that is what you get. You get this beautiful puff stitch. And you can make your blankets as big as you like. If you've got really ugly yarn, this is this is a brilliant stitch for if you've got really ugly yarn, to use it up and make a blanket for your pet. I'll move that out the way, and I'll show you with this how you can finish the edge of your blanket. So that is my treble crochet there. What I'm going to do is put my yarn over, and I'm going to go into that treble crochet and just pull up. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Come through all of those and chain 1. I'm going into the space next. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. And pull through. This is how you can finish the edge of the blanket. Go into the chain space next. I'll get some more yarn out of here. So yarn over and go in around the chain, the chain that we made at the end. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Come through your 4 like this. The sun's came out now. chain your 1 and then do the space. Just do 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how you do the edge. If you want a puff stitch down the edge of your blanket, that's what you can do. And into that 1, 2, 3 and 4. Go through all of those and chain 1. Make sure when you do your chain 1 it's not too tight. Don't do your chain 1 too tight or your blanket will go like that along the edge. So keep it like that. So keep it loose. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now with this you only need to do the 2 sides. Once you've finished, you only just finish your wool off, just come through the loop, cut it, and then pick up down here, pick your stitch up and do your puff stitches in here, in this one, in the space, in the chain, in the space, in the chain, up the other side. You don't need to do the top and you don't need to do the bottom. You can, if you want, just run along and put a line along the bottom if you want, but you don't have to. To finish off the blanket, just do your do your puff stitch down the side and then down that side into it. And that one will just go in there just because I've been squishing it around. And that's what your little puff stitch blanket looks like. And I'll bring the blue back. I like it in the blue. It's really pretty. So it's pretty in the lemon and in the blue. So give this a little try. It's really, really pretty. And it's easy. That's the best thing about it, is that it's really easy. So thank you very much for watching. So just click on that subscribe button. And if it comes up saying that you need a Gmail account is free and you just follow the instructions for the Gmail account. And then if you're a subscriber, you can give thumbs up to videos, any videos on YouTube. You can leave comments. You can subscribe to all the different channels that you like. So please subscribe to my channel and then click on that bell icon and you'll be notified when I put up another tutorial. So until the next time, happy crafting and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.